This week.
This week kicks off one of the biggest months yet for PSVR2 with VR Skater, and I've got a feeling that I'm going to spend a lot of time with this one. My brief hands-on preview was great, but brutal, because learning to string tricks together for combos took some serious practice. VR Skater sports 7 urban environments, plus an XP progression system where you can exchange your hard-earned XP and swap out your grip tape, trucks, wheels, and artwork in the virtual skate shop. VERTIGO 2, one of PSVR's most revered games, got announced last month for PSVR2. Now, it's coming sometime this year, but like so many other PSVR2 games slated to launch this year, it doesn't have a specific release date yet. But this week, we got one step closer to launch, as VERTIGO 2 is now available to be wishlisted on the PlayStation Store.
It wasn't supposed to be like this.
Being the chosen candidate for this project means you are quite the fortunate individual.
But you're the first living person to do this. The Earth will experience a major cosmic disaster.
It was only supposed to be a short trip into the future.
If you remember the 2020 PlayStation VR award show, you might remember a game we unveiled there from Portal's Edge 360 called TEMPUS 84. Now, it's obviously been a while since then, but the developers revealed this week that it's still in development and now slated for a November 2023 release. TEMPUS 84 does look a little rough around the edges, but I'm curious to see how this will turn out.
Convince them to use their equipment so we can leave this horrible time zone. My readings detect us a vortex ahead. Incoming temporal reading. Welcome to 1984.
I've got to get back home.
Life, it can be a never-ending race. The demands, the pressures, they weigh us down. But there's this little corner of the world where I find solace.
Last week on PSVR This Week, we talked a little bit about Black Hole Pool and how it's nearly ready to launch on PSVR 2. What I didn't realize was that the trailer that I was showing was extremely out of date. So check out this new one that features better textures and better lighting that more accurately represents the final product.
My escape. Here, I can choose my company. With friends, we form an unbreakable bond, challenging each other, sharing laughter, and raising a glass to victories won and losses gracefully accepted.
The PSVR 2 release of PNEUMATA is quickly rising to the top of my most wanted list. There's a heavy focus on exploration and puzzle solving, but this week the developers over at Deadbolt Interactive showed off these new clips featuring some of the more FPS-focused gameplay. August was already looking pretty insane for PlayStation VR2 games, with the impending release of Phasmophobia, Firewall Ultra, VR Skater, and of course Super Death Game Show. But this week, one more game got added to the list, because on October 29th, we'll be getting CROSSFIRE Sierra Squad, the only PlayStation VR2 first-person shooter to focus on co-op arcade gameplay. All the previews look great, but stay tuned for a review right here on Without Parole as we get closer to launch.
Let's go!
The patches for Bad Dreams continue to roll in on PSVR1. In fact, it's only been a week since launch, and I'm pretty sure we're on our third patch already. But that's all good news, because the October 24th release of the PlayStation VR2 version is getting closer, and we're hoping that when it gets here, it'll be as bug-free as possible. The developers also announced this week that they'll be offering a free upgrade to the $20 PSVR2 version for anyone who buys it for $15 on PSVR1. If you're a fan of C-Smash VRS but you just need more, the developers over at Wolf & Wood have good news for you. Because next month, C-Smash is getting a massive upgrade featuring the promised co-op mode, a new Infinity mode, the option to play against bots, new levels, instant replays, and a whole lot more. There's no specific release date yet, just sometime in August, but we'll let you know when we hear more. If you're still using your PSVR1, things haven't been too bleak lately. With the release of Awesome Asteroids, Bad Dreams, and Headcount, plus the announcement of games like Cooking Simulator VR, there certainly isn't a shortage of new games to play on your old headset. Well, this week, one more PSVR1 announcement kinda came out of nowhere: House Flipper VR. Reviews of this 3-year-old game over on Steam are pretty mixed, but let's hope for the best when House Flipper VR lands on PSVR1 next week on August 11th. ASCENT Quest is an online cooperative RPG for VR currently in development. Set in a medieval, high fantasy world to explore with friends, it focuses on rich environments, fast action combat, and story for a big sense of adventure. Even though the game is still in an early alpha stage, the developers have already posted quite a few devlogs. So if you're interested in hearing more about ASCENT Quest, check out their website in the description below. Every week, our good friend Professor Lilith organizes a multiplayer meetup over on our Discord. It happens every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, and this week we'll be playing 4-player co-op shooter After the Fall. If you can't make this week's meetup, don't worry, it happens every Sunday at the same time. So make sure you click the link in the description below. Come join our Discord.
This week.